Well, good day, Lionhearts. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion, and we are still here visiting my family. And today we are going to go pick up my mom because she's going to go vlogging with us. We're heading off to Muncie, Indiana. I've never been to Muncie, and what is there, I didn't actually know was there until about the last year. And so I've really got myself pumped up on this trip that this was like one of the main things that I wanted to go do and see and vlog and share with you guys on this trip. So we're gonna do it today. Let's go pick up my mom. Daze with Jordan the Lion. It begins right now. For all those wondering, my grandpa survived COVID, so we're here visiting for our first trip since COVID. And since this is such a special vlog for me anyway, it's gonna be a special Patreon sunglass vlog for Lucy. Lucy, I hope that you enjoy, well, I hope that you have the joy of painting. Let's go. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video that about a year ago I found out about what we're going to see, and I didn't know it existed before then. Upon further reading, I think that's when it opened. I think they had a GoFundMe or Kickstarter type deal before that to actually make this happen. So this is a relatively new experience that we're going to be vlogging today, and with it being opened in, I believe, October of 2020. That was during when I think Indiana had everything kind of closed down. They wanted to open it for this person's birthday, in honoring of their birthday. So probably a lot of people haven't seen this yet. So this should be a really great day. We have just entered Indiana. Well, we've made it to beautiful Muncie, Indiana. Minnetrista Cultural Center, and on the campus here is what we're looking for. So we're taking this one-way road. We are very, very close. Well, we are here, and if you see that happy face behind us, you probably know what this vlog is all about. Let me tell you why we're here. So this is known as the LL Ball House, but the historical significance in the life of Bob Ross, this was WIPB. So Bob's story is basically that he was a military man. He was in the military, and when he was stationed in Alaska, as a side job, he was a bartender, but he would also paint gold trays, like gold pans, and would sell them, and developed a love of painting and started watching the Bill Alexander method and decided to go take a course to learn how to paint like Bill Alexander. So when Bob finished and was about to retire and everything from the military, Bill Alexander's company offered him a job to be a traveling teacher, and Bob's wife said that he could do it, but that she would give him $1,000 and to go off and live his dream, and when he ran out of that money, he had to come home. So that's where the hair came in, the afro came in. He didn't want to cut his hair because he could save some of that money. So he ended up designing basically he and a woman that he had taught this class to, she came to him and said, I want to go into business with you and help you instruct people, basically fund for you to do your dream. And that's what he set out to do, was to go out and to teach painting courses anywhere that someone wanted to learn how to paint. He believed that you didn't have to already have a talent for it. If you were willing to learn and willing to put in the time, that you could become a great painter as well. So while Bob was out making a commercial for this thing, they took it to a PBS station to help them edit it, because the format they had filmed it on, they couldn't edit it. So this station saw it, liked it, and offered to make a show. So they came up with the idea of The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. That was in Northern Virginia. They did one season and then told Bob that they couldn't continue on doing any more seasons. So Bob moved on to look for a new home for his PBS Joy of Painting show, which brought him here. So as the story goes, he was in town in Muncie to have one of his classes, and they came by this PBS station at the time. This house, the LL Ball house, was being used for PBS, and he and his business partner rolled into the parking lot here in a VW bus, and the people that were working here said they saw a guy with shaggy hair and a woman hop out, and he walked up and said, "Hey, we're doing a painting class up at the mall. Do you think that we could make some sort of little advertisement? You could help us advertise it here?" And they said, "Boy, do we have a deal for you." And they sat down, had a conversation with Bob about what they wanted to do or what he wanted to do, and then had him paint something for them. And they said within 26 minutes he could have a painting complete. And Bob Ross from 1983 until 1988 would film all of the Joy of Painting inside this house. And so they, within the last year, have reconstructed his painting studio. He would do 15 episodes per season, and he would do his seasons quarterly. So he ended up doing 31 full seasons and was not able to complete his 32nd season. So let's go in, take a little tour of the museum, and see what we can see. And this should be pretty interesting because originally Bob wanted like a log cabin type setup, but he realized that it could be distracting to the viewer, so he really just wanted a black backdrop. So who knows what we'll see in here. All right, we've got the world's biggest Bob Ross fan here. My mom wanted to come and see this, and so we're gonna check it out. Who knows? Bob Ross is a pretty interesting guy, so this should be fun. And the welcome mat is worn out, but it's dedicated to Bob. Let's get crazy. You can do anything that you believe you can do, and I know you can do this. So this is great. They have in here a setup of an 80s living room, like what people would have watched Bob from. And you can actually watch Bob on the TV if you want. And surrounding the house, they have original pieces of work that Bob painted. Now what's interesting is that Bob usually, at least if he was filming a show, he would always do 3 versions of the painting. He would do one before he painted it as a reference that he would have off to the side, one that he painted for the show, and then after they were done filming, they would go and he would paint it again, and he would have someone photograph him doing it for the books. Here's another Bob Ross original painting. Now what he would do is he would, after he filmed them, he would donate them to various PBS stations to raise money, or sometimes he would donate them to charities. Isn't that beautiful? Exercising the imagination, experimenting with talents, being creative. These things to me are truly the windows to your soul. And then that paintbrush up there, that was actually one of his artifacts. That oversized paintbrush. So in this room is where Bob used to film, so we're gonna head in there next. That is the actual studio. Can you believe it? Here we are. He had a 3-camera setup, most times he said, and wow, there's that black backdrop. He always used the black curtain. As you might remember, he always had a ladder as an easel. And he believed when he started this, his thing was like, he wanted to wear he wanted to wear clothes that would look good like 30, 40 years later. So that's why he always wore that long sleeve shirt. And here you can see one that he painted and the reference photo, or the reference painting off to the side. That is so cool. His actual paintbrushes and paint bucket. Now, apparently he used to, before he would film anything, he would lie in bed and like think about every stroke he was gonna make. And he would usually do like an entire season in 3 days. He would film all the intros and outros in one day, and then, you know, each show was 30 minutes of painting, so he would film all those the second day. And then the third day they would do anything that they needed, extras or reshot or anything. Look at that. How cool. And then of course Bob loved animals, so in this studio he used to always have his critters, the squirrels and all that stuff. He would have his son come and paint. Steven would paint in this studio. Look, his actual palette. That's Bob's palette. And a lot of people don't know he was actually missing a finger, and he was pretty self-conscious about it, but it was on his brush hand so he could cover it up while he painted. Look, they blacked out the windows. And you know, it's crazy, the second season when he did this show, they would paint all of the ideas, like you see these. He would come up with all 15 paintings before they ever did any of the shows for his references. And 2 days before they were going to film that season, someone broke into the trailer where they were storing everything and stole all the paintings. So he had to literally like do it, you know, he had to create them that season without his references. But every season he would put out a book that taught you how to paint what he had painted. Look at that. An actual real Bob Ross. Isn't that beautiful? And that is the same one that we see right here. And since Bob was from the Orlando area, there's actually a Bob Ross gallery in Orlando. He is one of the most sought after American painters there is now. Isn't that cool? This is what he would have seen. If we're painting, if Bob was usually over here, imagining us in his position right here, standing right where Bob would have stood to paint. Happy little tree. Let's dust some snow across this mountain. Then he would have been looking back at his cameras right here. And he said that the camera operator that was assigned to do the close-ups of Bob would wear a raincoat because of the splatters of paint. Wow. Now let's go look at some of the artifacts they have of him over here. Photos of he and his wife. There's his crew that would film here. And apparently what he did, oh, there's a signed photo of him. That's wonderful. You can see his signature and everything down there on his shirt. Screwdrivers. Wow, that is so cool. Yeah, they said they weren't, when he started doing the show here, he wasn't, or they weren't a fan really of the animals, like him bringing the animals in, but it was something that he wanted to do, and he was so likable on camera that it worked. You know, he could talk to the viewer as though it was like a woman in bed. That's how he viewed it. All that magic would have been created right there. And over here, they have some more of his paintings. So let me read to you what these say over here. You can see like there's a little can for cookies and calculator and some of his glasses and stuff. But it says, to build the first of Bob's giant fan brushes, WIPP crew member Jerry Morton got creative. He formed the brush's base with 2 wooden brooms. Then he found a broken parking gate arm out back behind the studio and taped it to the handle to complete the look. Then it says that the WIPP staff had to turn off the heat in the LL Ball house while they were filming The Joy of Painting. As a historic house, its pipes and heating system popped and hissed, which could be audibly heard on recorded episodes. And there was a fireplace back there the whole time we never knew about. That is just too cool to be here. Too cool. And they said when we came in, they said you can touch everything, you know, unless it has a sticker on it that says something about Bob, then you can touch everything. It's very interactive, even down to the shirts. Now this says Bob thought about every aspect of The Joy of Painting, including his own performance. During filming, he watched himself on the TV monitor to finesse his on-camera presentation. There's his remote control. I just honestly can't believe I'm getting to see this stuff. I don't think there's anybody, you know, that I know that's never seen a Bob Ross show. So cool. Now right here it says 3 cameras filmed The Joy of Painting. 1 camera person held back for wider shots while the other 2 zoomed in for close-ups. The 3rd camera was locked in place. It didn't require an operator, but in later episodes a 3rd camera person's name appeared in the credits. Bob wanted The Joy of Painting to be a 3-operator show. We're now watching it through his camera.
Color's a little bit lighter. Maybe one little hill right here. Just go. Gotta make the noise though.
See that slope that he's painting right there? Take a look at this. There's that little hill. The tout behind all this is not me, it's these people. This crew made it work. Trashcan says, on the show, Bob used the side of his easel to beat the devil out of the brushes, splattering paint all over the floor, but in his instructional books, he recommended the neater method of drying brushes against a Ross brush beater rack inside a wastebasket. And he did eventually develop his own brand of paint, a Bob Ross consistent paint. He reworked and created a paint that would stick and would work the way that he liked it to, and it can still be purchased today. So check out this. This is really great. Not only do you have an original Bob Ross painting up here, but my mom started laughing and she said, take a look at this. He's got his sunglasses, his Coca-Cola, his Marlboros, his ashtray, and then he got his Afro pick and his Vicks Vapor Rub. Yeah, he hated that hairstyle. Like I said, he did it so that he could save money, and then they made his logo out of it, and he was pretty much stuck with it. He would tell friends, you know, even though he was famous enough, people would know him without. They expect that, so he kept it forever. And there's some fan mail. And it says right here, before each show, Bob cleared his sinuses with whiffs of Vicks Vapor Rub, ensuring a smooth, velvety voice. He also kept a hair pick in his back pocket to fluff out his perm. Like so. Right there you can see his car keys, and it's got a Datsun keychain, but he was proud of his Corvette and loved to ride around his Corvette all the time. That little notation there says, the unique scent of paint thinner mixed with cigarette smoke announced Bob was in town for a week of filming. And this is interesting. It says, Bob and the WIPP crew loved to dream up introductions for the show, and those introductions only increased in quality as the show continued. A friend of Bob's created the first animated opening for The Joy of Painting on an early portable computer, the Apple IIc. Then here they have a photo album of Bob and the crew. You can see inside there him in this very studio with that very ladder that we saw painting, holding that very palette. And over here we have Bob cleaning off the palette. Happy birthday, Bob. There's his 51st birthday cake. And there he is with the birthday cake here in the studio. So this was all on the campus of Ball State University, so sometimes you'll see different things noted as BSU, Ball State. And Bob apparently had had cancer before he ever filmed The Joy of Painting or anything, and nobody really knew about it. And he actually went into remission at the end of his life with lymphoma. That's what ended up killing him. They saw it coming for 2 to 3 years before they ended the show, but the very end he wanted to do a children's show and wasn't even healthy enough to be able to come do the pilot, so they went to his home in Florida and filmed the pilot. And there's Bob with his palette over his face, the very palette we see in the case over there. Since they said you can touch everything, I feel like I should touch his hair pick, don't you? Bob Ross's hair pick. You're even allowed to put on his shirts here. Then right here we have a box of his paint. Right there. And it said, now these 12 colors we'll use every week. So if you want to have your palette ready, these are the colors that we'll use. Also each week we'll run the colors across the screen, so in case you didn't get all these, you can pick them up next time. It's possible to buy oil paints in almost any color imaginable, but Bob chose a limited color palette for his series, The Joy of Painting. This made it easier and cheaper for viewers to paint along. And they said in his documentary that for all the people that watched his show, it originally started out with just a few PBS channels picking it up. Then he got like 75. Then he got like 350. And the way he did it is he would say on here, hey, call your local PBS and tell them you want The Joy of Painting on in your neighborhood. And he would give away like the station manager's phone number and stuff, and he got on there. Unbelievable. And right here it says, one way Bob and the crew showed their appreciation for each other was through thoughtful gifts. Office manager Patty Foster loved cows, so Bob gave her several cow-related items, including a stuffed cow addressed to Cow Patty. And that is also one of Bob's original paintings. You can see down in the corner that he signed it Ross. I'll never forget watching David Letterman, and he had Bob Ross on, and Bob was basically teaching David Letterman how to paint a picture, and Dave like swiped his paintbrush across the painting and ruined Bob's painting, and Bob fixed it right there on TV. Bob often placed his own paintings in ornate gold frames and sometimes selected those for his friends as well. Local frame shop Gordy's Fine Art and Framing produced this frame to match Bob's preferred style. This isn't the first time Minnetrista had displayed Bob's paintings. It's the only museum in the world to exhibit Bob's work during his lifetime. So now let's check out these in the hallway to the bathroom. Those are also Bob's paintings. Those are the happy trees we always heard about. These are so big I can't even get them all in the shot. That is total Bob Ross, you know, like those sliding snowy hills. They're very hard to come by now. If you wanted to buy one for your house, they're very hard to come by. So it's kind of crazy to think that most of what we would see or what we would know from Bob was filmed inside there, and it was only done, each season was done in like 3 days. How crazy is that? You know, what we would know him most for isn't what he would spend most of his year working on. What he would spend most of his year when he wasn't filming these, he was traveling all over the country teaching people how to paint. And when he became so in demand that he couldn't handle all the people that wanted to paint with him or learn from him, he had to, as he said, start amassing an army of teachers that were versed in the method that he teaches. So his style could continue on long after his death. I guess we can consider ourselves extremely lucky to have had Bob Ross show up at this house that day. Who knows how history would have played out had he not come here and tried to get a little promotion for his art class that day. Ended up with a career as America's most beloved painter. And was the experience worth a trip? Oh, heck yeah. 15 bucks a person if you're from out of state. So it goes to help build this experience a little bit more. They call this the Bob Ross experience, and it's 2 floors. Like I said, right now it's only 1. So your contributions from coming here or donations online help Bob Ross's memory inside this house become a destination for travelers like you and I. All right, my friends, we're gonna call it a day from Muncie, Indiana, and unbelievably, the studio where Bob Ross filmed his show. I can't believe we saw that today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you come to Muncie, don't skip out on that. They're closed on Monday and Tuesdays, but it's worth a trip. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.